And then my eyes starts rolling back again, and I can't stop them, no matter how hard AMICUS shakes me. Oh no, please, don't leave me here. Please come back to me. You can't leave me to be all alone like this. I'm here. No, speak to me. I'm staying with you. I drift through the blackness, feeling a sense of peace like I never known before. And even though space is empty, I feel it crowded with others. So many others. Or is it one other? A sense of many different minds and thoughts, melded together as one.
Hello. We apologize what happened to you. We know you're confused. We told you that this could be prevented. And it will be. You will not leave him to be alone. Be at peace for now. For he will come for you. Wait for him.
Hey guys, it's your Bo the Doggo. Welcome back to Adastra episode 21. We just died, and AMICUS is now the Emperor. And you saw the last episode. That's why you're here. I'm not gonna talk anymore. This is thing we need to find out what happens next. So let's go. AMICUS is the victor. All hail Emperor AMICUS. The words sound hollow in AMICUS' ears, and so does the faint roar of the crowd in Adastra City all the way across the lake. The wolf can only stare down at the human in his arms, suddenly realizing how light and fragile he actually is. And the blood. So much blood that paints the front of his human that had just moments ago been so full of life. A tear drops down from the tip of AMICUS' nose and onto Bo's neck, mixing with the blood that has now stopped flowing from the deep gash. Air no longer bubbles through the red liquid either. A strange, choking sound works its way out of AMICUS' lips, one he's never heard himself make before. The overflowing sadness in his heart has seemingly run out to be replaced by something empty, cold. Like there's nothing there anymore. Still, AMICUS wills the human to live, to use a special healing ability he seems to possess, to breathe again. But even as Virginia moves in to find Felix, AMICUS knows that there's nothing that can be done for something like this. Kato had very nearly beheaded the human, cutting through everything that was important. Cradling Bo's head carefully, AMICUS raises the young human up to his chest, hugging him tightly, squeezing his eyes shut and feeling the welling tears pour over his cheeks, down his chin and to the human's hair. It's quiet, and AMICUS opens his eyes to see Neferu sitting there in front of him, staring in shock. When the jackal meets his eyes, he quickly dips his head, lowering his ears. AMICUS, I am so sorry. The wolf raises his eyes to see a drone just over Neferu's head, hovering as the lens focused voyeuristically on him, broadcasting his grief to Adastra. But this is nothing like those dramas, the tragedies of romantic death he's seen played out on the screen so many times before. There is nothing romantic about this, as AMICUS is sure his audience is finding it to be right now. This is real death, and the feeling is familiar. It's hollow, empty, suffocating, like being pulled down a bottomless cold black ocean. It's like when Mother died and Cassiad had screamed over her body like a wounded animal. It's like when he heard the news Father had died and how he'd fallen to his knees, clutching his chest and gasping for air like he'd been shot. But this is worse somehow, and AMICUS can't even comprehend it. It hits him harder than anything he's ever felt in his life. Everything is going grey, the color being sucked from his vision, from his life. And even though he's not sobbing now, the tears are flowing freely down his cheeks. He isn't sure how he can recover from this at all, and he knows that he probably never will. This is his fault. He'd forced a human here. He'd made himself feel better by saying that Bo had a choice in the matter, was free to do as he pleased. But that wasn't true at all. He had taken the human's life, just as Kato had now. AMICUS realizes then that he is no different from the wolves he'd thought himself to be above. That he was more enlightened somehow in trying to hold all sapient life as equal. And even though it would break his heart to never have met Bo, AMICUS only wishes that he never brought him here in the first place. To his death. The thought brings another wave of heart-wrenching grief to crash through his hollow chest, and for a moment he almost can't breathe. Please, Bo. The young wolf whispers into the human's hair, his voice now only a soft whine as fresh tears blurs his vision. His teaching since he was a pup begins to come to mind. Bo's soul, like the souls of all sapiens, is ascending to the greater intelligence, mingling with the lives of billion others, with his father, his mother, and maybe Cassius too. A place he'd also join one day. But the human soul belongs here, in his arms, not to be mixed and consumed by the parents. Not yet. That mixed singular being isn't Bo. It's like a beautiful mural being shattered and then constructed into something else. Bo still exists. At this very moment he exists, but it's no longer him. AMICUS grits his teeth, feeling the anger begin to overcome the overwhelming grief. No. No. No! How dare they? This isn't fair. The parents had spoken to Bo, had told him what to do, had led him to this point. Then the human had told AMICUS that he was worried about something terrible happening. AMICUS grit his teeth, remembering how he brushed it off, even though he told Bo that he believed him, that he had nothing to worry about if he followed their guidance. No! AMICUS shakes his head, still clutching onto the human tightly. AMICUS? Nefarious' voice is tentative, almost fearful, like he's worried about what AMICUS might do. AMICUS isn't even sure of that himself as he rises to his feet, cradling the human in his one good arm, easily able to do so because of the difference in size. He turns and walks quickly towards the palace, almost jogging, ignoring the various jolts of pain throughout his body. He doesn't even glance down at Kato's unmoving body as he passes by. The wolf's expression is stoic now, a strange rage bubbling under the surface. AMICUS! Nefero calls after him, but AMICUS ignores the jackal, set on one thing, and one thing only. The parents might have taken his parents, maybe even his brother, but they aren't going to take his human. He won't allow it. As the wolf enters the palace, he notices Alex pacing the hallway. He stops as he sees the wolf approaching. AMICUS, I heard that you are the new emperor and... He trails off as he sees Bo cradling the wolf's arm. The blood covering the body, flowing down a limply hanging arm to drip gently from the fingertips. AMICUS brushes past the cat, eyes set straight ahead, expressionless. Nothing seems to exist outside of the wolf's tunnel vision. Soon, he comes to the door he's looking for and leans forward, pressing his injured shoulder to the panel to open it, ignoring the blaze of pain that shoots through him as he does. AMICUS approaches the archive, glaring at the orb, as if the machinery itself is the parent. The big wolf comes to a stop in front of it, staring up at the blue structure for a moment before looking down at Bo. The ashen color of the skin is unnerving, so different from the deep tones he once had. Bo is dead, and AMICUS knows that, but he won't accept it. The wolf presses his face close to the human's for a moment, feeling the fading warmth before kissing him gently on the top of his head. And with that, AMICUS leans forward, pressing them both to the sphere. Then he connects, and emerges with the universe. We continue to drift through infinite space, content. Despite everything, we trust the beings around us, all of us and the others. The parents. The parents. This was all meant to happen. And though it was hard and terrible, the worst is over now. And that thought alone is enough to keep us completely relaxed, waves and waves of relief washing over us. In the cacophony of thought and emotions though, something stands out. Though the beings meld together, one seems to become separate for a moment, solely focusing directly on us. On me. This brings me out of the trance for a bit, and I turn my attention to them. AMICUS? But then, as I focus more on this being, I get a different feeling. Not him, but her. Is it, Mira? Could it be Mira? It seems like she wants to speak to me. She's not familiar, not someone I've spoken to before, but the intensity with which she's focusing on me. Hello? I reach out, but then suddenly the amalgamation of intelligent beings pull away, and I feel myself extracted from its mass. The feeling is bizarre, and I almost miss the crowding of thoughts and feelings, of being one with many. But then I feel myself again, my body, beginning to materialize out of nothing. The nothingness around me slowly becomes something. For a moment, I'm floating in the air. Then I'm being held by something strong and solid. AMICUS! The first thing I see is AMICUS' face. He's looking down at me, grim and determined. Just as I focus on him though, his expression changes. Bo? I shift a little, trying to focus better on my wolf. Bo! Suddenly, I'm surrounded by fur, getting squeezed tightly against AMICUS, my face pressed into his neck. Instinctively, I wrap my arms around him. Oh god! Are you real? Tell me you're real! Bo! Please! He gasps for the words, like he's coming up from air after diving to the bottom of the lake. I'm having trouble remembering things. Why he seems so upset. But I know something bad happened and now it's over, so I try to comfort him. I'm real. I'm here. My voice is strange, like I haven't used it in a while. At first, I think I'm back in AMICUS' room after I've woken up from the coma, still trying to convince him that everything is okay. Like we'd gone to sleep and just woken up, and that he wants to reassure again that I'm not going to disappear. But then I can remember that Kato came in that morning. Things fall into place like a long row of giant, heavy dominoes. I suddenly sit up a bit, against AMICUS' chest, pushing him back so that I can look up at him. Wait, the fight! Kato! AMICUS, are you okay? I look him over, trying to check his wounds. The blood and swelling that I seen in the amphitheater is gone though. He's clean and well groomed, and his arm seems fine, judging by its sturdiness underneath me. My brief look at him is ended though, as AMICUS suddenly yanks me back against his chest, sobbing against me. I've seen AMICUS cry before, back in the dungeon, but not this gut-wrenching sob that I can feel heaving through my own body. It serves to shock me to my senses even more. Firmly, I push back against his chest, creating a space between us so that I can hold his face in my hands. He just looks back at me, crying openly, and I watch as the tears well out of his eyes and seem to disappear into the fur of his cheeks. I'm sure we both want to say a lot in this moment. What happened? What is happening now? What will happen? But at this particular moment in time and space, we're back together. It's impossible, but it's happening, so I cling to him again, and he just holds me as he presses my face against his chest, listening to his hammering heart, squeezing my eyes shut. If this is eternity, then I am completely fine with it. I'm not sure how much time passes, but as this thought crosses my mind a few times, my eyes suddenly fly open. I press back again, looking up at the wolf, holding his face again. Wait, if you're here, did you? I wondered suddenly if AMICUS had been seriously wounded in the fight, that he didn't make it after all. But AMICUS shakes his head gently, his sobs having quieted to subdued sniffle and hiccups. No, I'm fine. I won. Kato is dead. I'm flooded with relief. He strokes my hair gently, slowly, and I wonder why he's still looking so sad. But how are you here? Aren't I? I look around into the infinite space surrounding us. The stars and planets are unusually close, stunningly bright, and unimaginably vivid. The blues, purples, and blacks are deep and monolithic, signaling the endless space that stretches beyond. Am I dead? AMICUS pulls me back against him, forcing me to look away from the churning universe. No, you're here. It sounds more like he's convincing himself rather than me. But where's here? AMICUS is quiet for a moment, and I find myself content to lean against him for a while, just wanting to be close to him. At some point, AMICUS had sat down, and I'm cradled up in his lap. Considering we're just not floating around in zero gravity, I have to assume that there's something solid underneath us somehow. AMICUS sniffles again. I melded my minds with the archives to speak with the parents. That is all I know. I think. Did I do the same then? I was holding you when I did it. My neck. The blood. I look up at him again. AMICUS, am I alive? AMICUS looks at me for a moment, before his face screws up and tears well up again. I don't know. He whines out the words and I immediately hug him again. Hey, I'm okay, see? I'm here. Another sobbing fit starts. And now I know why. I must have died, and now, for whatever reason, the parents have let us reunite somehow. And I know that AMICUS must be wondering the same thing that I am. How long is this going to last? I try to think of what to say, in case this is our last moment together, in case I'm going to be absorbed again. But my mind comes up short in the weirdest of ways, only able to think of things that don't matter. So I settle on what had just happened. You're Emperor now, AMICUS. AMICUS nods against me, not trusting his voice that moment apparently. I'm so happy for you. Now he shakes his head, smearing tears against my cheek. I hate seeing him like this. I hate that this might be the last way I see him. Please don't cry. Let's just be together right now. I sit up straight and pull his head against my chest for once, cradling his massive form against me, caressing his ears and neck. I'm okay. I went somewhere when I died. The word is so strange to say. It was really nice, full of people. I wasn't alone. It was peaceful. AMICUS takes a deep shuddering breath, finally pulling back from my hug. That's wonderful, Bo. But I'm sorry, because I'm not letting you go back there. AMICUS suddenly looks resolute when he smirks through the tears. You are coming back with me. He really is certain that he's going to drag me back from the dimension of the dead. I don't know what to say. I don't know much about the parents, or the afterlife, but AMICUS must, so I trust him. I smile up at him. Okay. He smiles back up at me, then very suddenly kisses me. It's rough and wet, and he kind of misses my lips, but I kiss back, holding him tightly. Once he finally draws back, I'm happy to see my wolf back to his usual, confident self, even if he has to keep sniffling with his runny nose. I look around at the swirling cosmos again. Can you just get us out? AMICUS frowns, looking around himself. This is actually my first time doing this, so I'm not sure. AMICUS looks behind us, then up and down, then clears his throat. Com? Com, are you there? Silence. I can tell that AMICUS is already out of ideas. The parents are doing this, right? I think so, though I've never spoken to them. You actually have more experience with that. AMICUS grins at me, then looks back up. Maybe if we walk back? I give AMICUS a strange look, and just as I'm about to point out the absurdity of walking back to Adastra through infinite space, a booming presence makes itself known.
I suppose you are finished?
AMICUS and I both jump, and the wolf leaps to his feet, keeping me held in his arms. Who's there? AMICUS shouts into the void, snarling. It's okay, AMICUS, it's just the monitor. I say it like it's just an old friend of mine. AMICUS doesn't lower his guard, however, and continues to growl into space. The monitor expresses his amusement in that silent way of his, but I can understand why AMICUS isn't letting his guard down. It's evident in the way he's holding me, clutching me tightly to his chest. He's afraid I'm going to be taken back from him. I am too.
If you are, I'll open the channel of communication now.
AMICUS raises an eyebrow. What the hell are you talking about?
You wish to speak to the parents, correct? They wish to speak directly to you. At least as directly as is possible.
There's a pause, and I see the gears turning in AMICUS' head as his ears flick. Yes.
Then it is done.
The monitor's presence vanishes, and suddenly, there's another one. Not one, but many, similar to what I had felt earlier. This is still different. Instead of melding together, these entities are distinct and separate from each other. But they are so similar that they could be copies of a single person. Their intentions feel disturbingly uniform, like they are all on the exact same path. Unlike the monitor, who at least feel to be on a similar level as any other sapien, these entities feel alien. Which is a strange thing to feel after everything I've been through, but these things are so different. So different. Well, show yourself! AMICUS barks at the emptiness, somehow feeling brave in the face of all this titanic presence. You cannot see us. His mouth moves on his own, mind suddenly becoming empty, seeming to blend with the space around them. AMICUS looks down at the human in confusion. What? He stares back. We cannot speak directly to you. Bow? But we have other methods. AMICUS' face morphs from confusion to horror. Gods, Bow? He gives a human a little shake. Hey! He can hear you. He is simply occupied at the moment. AMICUS bares his teeth and begins to shake. He is not sure if it's from anger or fear. Likely both. If you don't stop! There is no need to threaten. All is as it should be. AMICUS is left to stand there, staring open-mouthed at his lover. Something ominous and dark churns in his gut. This isn't how he envisioned any of this at all. Are these the parents? What the hell are you? We are your guide, your benevolent leader, your parent. AMICUS rubs a paw over the human's forehead gently, looking into those blank, staring eyes. Leave him be, please. He is not being harmed. He shall return to a normal state after this channeling is complete. But how? Simply put, we are manipulating his behavior through the use of the lingua. AMICUS shakes his head, clearly not wanting this at all, but the complete powerlessness he feels right now is overwhelming. The speech he'd been planning for this moment, his intention to tear apart the careless arrogance of the parents, it just dissipates. Seeing Bow just taken by them like this, it's enough to completely cow any courage he once had. And as he stares at the cold eyes of the human, he begins to wonder if this is a nightmare. For a brief moment, AMICUS wonders if any of this is real, what reality is even right now. That is not for you to wonder, AMICUS. All that matters is that you are the one true Emperor. What do you want? AMICUS stares down at this human, feeling repulsed by what's happening. For the work of Drusus to continue. For Adastra to achieve its full potential at last. For the Galaxias to ascend. AMICUS shakes his head, trying to focus, trying not to focus on the robotic tone of Bow's voice, on the strange way his jaw moves, forced to speak in the Wolven tongue. I intend to do so, but please let the human go and heal him, please. He didn't ask for any of this. The human is also involved, AMICUS. But I involved him. It was meant to be. What? AMICUS isn't sure if it is his own mind or the mind of another that brings back the memory of when he'd opened the archives, how Earth had been near the top of the list of profiled planets. How it had made no sense that an uncontacted world would be on that list at all. But now it does make sense. But at the same time, even less sense. AMICUS shakes his head, still reeling at the situation he's in, feeling that he's teetering on the edge of madness. Steady. There are many things you do not understand, things you will never understand, and that is fine. Not all things are meant to be understood by all sapiens. But you at least understand that the humans are not uncontacted, are they? Amicus says nothing, knowing that his mind is being read. Somehow Wolven culture is there. So is Kemian culture, Hindo culture, all sibling cultures. The parents go silent, and Amicus is left to stare at the puppet his lover has been turned into. Amicus grits his teeth. Why? Because they were an experimental microcosm, now a successful one, and it's time for them to be integrated into the Galaxias. Another moment of silence. And you want me help you do this? No, your mission is to help unite the siblings. The first step is Kemia. That was already my intention. That is questionable. The situation is perilous. Kemia is furious after what happened. You need more guidance. Thus, why you are here. Amicus snarls. I'm here for him! Amicus nods at Bo, at the sapient creature being used as a mouthpiece. You are here for the Galaxias, and as the Emperor, you now have the onus to know all of this information, as your father knew, as his father knew, and so on. Amicus grits his teeth again, trying to comprehend what's being told him, despite being completely disturbed by what's happening to Bo. If you wanted galactic integration, then why have we been competing with each other? This was assumed by the siblings themselves. Competition was never the goal. Then why not just tell us that? You're supposed to be our guide! The process is slow and careful. Interference is a last resort. This very communication is a last resort as the siblings and children stray further and further away from the path every day, and not just the wolves. It has taken 20,000 years to reach this point, and that time cannot be wasted. Then why are you telling only me and not all the sapiens in the Galaxias? Amicus glares at the face of the human again, stroking the face gently, hating the blank stare he receives. As was stated, minimal interference will result in the best outcome. Only select figures are being informed at this stage. A Galaxias developed independent of interference will better serve the greater cause as a whole. The greater cause? The stars and planets shift around them, zooming forward, and for a moment, Amicus feels as though he might be sick. Something dark looms at the edge of the universe, growing slowly, leeching the parts that it touches. The other approaches, and it must be confronted. At this point, Amicus feels unease pierce through his fog of confusion and anger. What other? Are we preparing for war against something? We must prepare for an event many millennia from now. This is one step of many. Amicus lets out a low growl of frustration, the vagueness of this entire situation making his head ache. But what does it have to do with Bo? Amicus shifts his hold on the human, just wanting him to come back to consciousness. He must play a role, and you must make a decision, Amicus. Oh my god, what is going on? The whole picture just became so much bigger than I originally thought it would be. Jeez, I get some Mass Effect vibes of this all with the threat outside of the universe or the galaxy coming here, and yeah, cool, I like that. I wonder if that's why they started working on Kemia, that's the next part in this of uniting the Galaxias. That would be pretty cool. I don't think they will make a game for every civilization, but it would be cool if they did, but I highly doubt it. Anyhow, exciting. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Looking forward to make the next one. Sorry that I left you on a cliffhanger last time, and I guess I'm leaving on a cliffhanger this time as well, but that means that you will come back for the next one, I hope. I hope it won't take as long time for the next episode to come out, but no promises. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and I love you guys, so take care, and remember that you are loved and appreciated, and that you should be proud of who you are. Because I want to see you in the next episode. Bye! just taking this last moment to say thank you for being you and being awesome.